Please go in and I'd love to see where everybody's calling in from. Thank you all for joining. So hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us for our Latina Equal Pay Day conversation, from passion to profit, navigating the creator economy and closing the Latina pay gap. I am Emily Perez, the Executive Director of Latinas in Beauty, and it is an honor to be your moderator today. Today is Latina Equal Pay Day, a day that marks how far into the next year we have to work just to earn what our white counterparts made last year. We have to work 22 months to earn what they made in 12 months. It's a powerful date that reminds us of the work we still have to do. But here's the reality. Latinas are the growth engine of the US consumer market. We're driving trends, shaping culture, and building deep community trust. And yet the pipeline is blocked. We are paid 54 cents for every dollar paid to our white non-Hispanic men. Less than 5% of Latinas are beauty executives and fewer than 1% in the C-suite. Today, we focus on action. We are moving forward with passion and giving you the tangible steps to demand your value and secure your profit. We're here to help you close that gap, one contract at a time. I am so excited to introduce you to the two powerhouses that we have here today. We have Angie Castro-Patterson, VP at 5WPR. Angie has spent over 12 years shaping strategies for leading brands and is a champion of diversity, offering the crucial insider perspective on what brands really prioritize and how agencies calculate your worth. And Diaz, founder of ZAID Talent, a full-service talent management agency with over 15 years of experience in PR and influencer marketing. Ori specializes in building long-term partnerships, using her strategies and negotiating skills to empower creators to monetize and scale their career sustainability. Please, everyone, welcome both Angie and Ori today.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that
Hi,
beautiful
everyone.
introduction. Hi, everyone. Excited to be here.
Yes, thank you for joining today.
So Angie, let's start with you.
Sure.
In the world of content creators, it's believed that follower count is everything. But we know that Latina creators bring a level of engagement and cultural resonance that goes beyond a single metric. Can you share what brands look at when evaluating Latina creators beyond follower count?
That's the big misconception. Follower count might get you noticed, but it won't get you booked. From the agency perspective, brands are looking at three things: engagement quality, who your audience is, and does that audience align, and the authenticity of your content. I've seen creators with 15,000 followers get booked over a creator with 200,000 followers, purely because the community was active and deeply engaged in the content. What I mean by deeply engaged is, are people commenting on the content you're putting out? Are they sharing it with their friends? Are they tagging their friends? Are they DMing you personally and saying, I bought this product because you told me and it works? That's what really is the difference and drives the real influence that we're looking for. And then, of course, from the other perspective, for new creators that are on the line here, don't stress about having massive numbers right away. Build that loyal following and that consistent community and focus on a two-way conversation in your content. That's what makes brands take you seriously when you're ready to pitch us. Your power isn't really in how many people follow you, it's in how deeply they trust you.
I think that's great. And I think you spoke a little bit more about, content creators as they're getting started. I think this is for both Angie and Ori. What's the best way for a new creator to get noticed and start building that genuine long-term relationship with brand agencies?
I would say that I always recommend creators to create content like they already have the brand deal. You have to show these brands how the product lives within your organic content. How do you use it day to day? And how do you create influence and impact with your community? In building relationships, that to me is the core of the relationship that you build not only with the brand but also with the audience. So you are creating content with this brand in mind. You are tagging the brand. You are sending a DM to the brand. Hey, I just created a video with your product. I love it. I use it every day. Create that personal relationship with them. Also, when it comes to the brand, do your homework. Do they have an event? Go to the event, and please go to
Amen. Come to our events, please.
right. Please go to the events and talk to the brand representative, talk to the agency representative. I can't tell you how many events I go to and creators are talking to themselves and kind of on a corner and don't really network. And that's what you're there for, to really get to know the brand, to introduce yourself and create and grow that relationship with the brand. So it's really important to create lasting impressions and grow and develop a relationship when you're starting off.
I couldn't agree more. Authenticity is key. We want to see, are you posting about us before you ask us to be added to the PR list? Are you posting about us before you ask to be paid for content? You have to start somewhere, show up to the brand, show face, make connections internally. That makes us really be like, hey, this girl is loyal. This is a person that I can rely on to join us and really advocate for our brand. Another thing is be reliable. Deliver on time. I can't tell you how many times we ask for content and it's late or it doesn't get delivered to us, or you're not answering in a timely manner. We have schedules, we have marketing calendars that things need to go live by a certain time. So if we feel that you are not reliable, we won't come back and work with you again. So again, adding your own creative spin and making sure you deliver things in a timely manner makes you stand out, so that when we do cast again, we're looking at you.
I think you both mentioned how important it is to show up, to be present, to create those relationships. I think still speaking to a content creator that might just be getting started, once they get their foot in the door and has created these relationships with the brands, what is that one single most compelling piece of data that they should use to land their first paid deal?
I don't think there's a single compelling piece of data. I think it's a combination of your impact as a whole. So what is your engagement? What are your link clicks? How well do you really know your audience and the relationship that you have with your audience? I think it's so important to know what they like, know what they react to, what kind of content really resonates with them. When you know your audience and you know your numbers as a creator, that makes you so much more powerful, and it really makes you stand out in the eye of a brand. I think also it's important that when you're pitching yourself, that you are confident about the numbers that you are pulling in, that you're confident about your knowledge of your audience, and that the brand knows they can rely on you for the results that they're looking for their campaign.
Key right there. And we ask that a lot, is what is the impact of your story? And I think we don't get that in return from some creators because they don't know how to quantify the data that's in front of them, or don't have an agency that's doing that for them, or just don't know where to start. Everything matters. How many clicks did your story get? How many likes did your story get? It's the impact on the community, no matter how large the following. If 80% of your 1,000 followers have engaged with the content you just posted for us, that's a win. And I want to know that. And I want to know how many clicks you got back. You can track those things, and there are certainly tools that Ori can share that help you as the creator navigate that. But yes, for us, it's every time I post a product, I get 20 DMs about the product that I posted about. That's something we want to know, so that we're like, oh, wow, she may not have the biggest reach, but her reach is engaged and is money green at this point.
Ori, I would love to hear your perspective. Like, what can they have ready? Is it a one pager? How do they kind of compile this information to have ready to go to show their value to the brands?
So I strongly recommend that you create a media kit that shows your numbers in terms of your following, your engagement rate, a short bio that explains who you are and your story, because that story is so important. And please don't feel like, well, I'm like every other creator. Yes, this market is saturated, but your story is your own, and you're the best one to tell it, right? So make sure that you differentiate yourself with your story. This media kit should include that. It should also include your past collaborations. And if you don't have any past collaborations, what are the brands that you're interested in? And does your platform reflect those brands? You can't say, for example, my dream brand to work with would be CoverGirl, and I go to your page and there's no videos with CoverGirl on them. That doesn't really
Red flag.
align
Yeah.
to the story, you know? So it's really important, and I think I mentioned it before, to show up for the brand before you pitch them, before you send them your media kit. So with a pitch should come your media kit with all of that information, so the brand understands who they're working with or potentially working with.
And just to add a little sazon to what she just said, proofread your pitches. Okay, I can't tell you how many pitches we've gotten where it's like, I love CoverGirl, and you're reaching out to It's a 10 Hair Care.
Right.
Please proofread your pitches, cater your pitches to the brand. Our founders are reading them. We're reading them. We're like, this is totally off base. She clearly just copy pasted this and went to a million brands. Inauthentic, off the list.
Yes. Another tip, just to add on that, because we can go on forever with
Yeah.
tips, but I think also in your pitch, it should be, I love this concealer from CoverGirl. Here's a link to the video.
Amen.
Used it on my get ready with me this morning, or this is how I used it when I got ready for date night and I showed how it didn't crease all night. You have to show that you are in it, that you try the product, that it's part of your life, and that you can speak on it from a genuine perspective.
I love that. Those are all great tips. And I'm sure once we get into the Q&A section of this conversation, that'll open up opportunities for you to share even more gems with all of us. So we're here today really, to speak about the pay equity and how can we leverage, the insights and information from both of you to help us have those conversations with brand partners. So I would love to hear about what practices do you see that help creators get fairly valued in brand deals?
Yeah. Or do you want to start, or you want me to kick off first? Yeah.
I think when budgets are tight, it really comes down to how you position yourself. Highlight the trust that you've built with your audience and the engagement, the quality of your work. I always tell creators, know your numbers. Again, we talked about this, about understanding your audience. And, if the brand doesn't have the full budget, it's okay to negotiate. There is never going to be a time, I haven't seen it in over 10 years of representing talent, that there is a problem with negotiation, that there is a brand is going to push back or say no to negotiation. The door is open for negotiation. It's all about you speaking up, knowing your worth, and wanting to negotiate, and being able to start that conversation. Also, I think it's really important to understand the scope of work, the deliverables that are being asked, understand how you can navigate that. Can you really deliver? As Angie said, it's so important. Can you deliver on time? Can you really create this content for this brand? And how much time is it going to take you? And what do you have to do to create it? I think understanding all of that is going to also help you understand how you negotiate that deal.
Couldn't agree more. Preparation is key. Coming to the table with the data you do have, and if you're newer here and you're just starting your creative journey, then presenting what you will offer, over communicating to us the things that you want to deliver to us, hey, I'm just starting out, I have this many followers, my fans are super engaged, why don't I provide this many posts for you just to see how things work. We want to see that you're eager to work with us from an authentic place first before we start investing dollars. And again, it's going to take a moment if you're just starting out. That's why we keep saying be everywhere, go everywhere, network as much as you can. But once you do have that data, bring a little case study, bring a one pager. Hey, one of the Latina creators I had worked with in the past, she She shared how she drove triple the benchmarks of what the brand had asked of her in terms of the ROI they asked for. Bring that to me and say, hey, I drove triple the benchmarks for the last brand I work with. I think I can do that for you. That type of data helps us as an agency go and pitch you to our brands and be like, look at the record she has.
I love that. So
Advocate for yourself,
go ahead,
y'all.
Angie.
I just said advocate for yourself and really analyze. It's your business. It's your business. It's not just
speaking about that, I guess, like, how, if you're just getting started, how do you calculate your worth? Like, is there a calculation that goes into kind of creating like what the going rate is for a particular content? And I'm sure it's more complex and complicated than that, but like,
yeah, I wouldn't say that there is a specific formula, but I will say every creator is different, but I will say that it does come down to your numbers at the end of the day. And I think it's very important for creators to understand this. Brands need to know that they are getting, a return on their investment. And we need to show them that with data. And it really comes down to your engagement rate. That's a huge one. And Angie, you can,
Amen.
on this, because that is what I see that brands are asking me for my talent the most. If you have a small following, just a tip, your engagement rate should be higher. And that is because you have more control of your pool of audience. It's smaller. So you should be engaging more with that audience, as opposed to someone that has 1 million followers. It's harder for them to engage with a higher rate. So there's an understanding that the rate may be a little lower. So I think that it's important for creators that are starting out that still have a small following to understand their engagement. Look at when is your audience online and when are they engaging with you? For example, I do a lot of this with my own clients where we strategize. When I talk about how I get ready in the morning, when I talk about the upcoming travels that I have with my family, I notice that there is a spike in engagement. There's a spike in views. Now, this algorithm is showing you and teaching you that your audience reacts to that this is something that engages them. So you really have to study your numbers. I know link clicks, shares are also very important. You should be linking everything, even if it's your stories or if you have a link tree or if you work with LTK, Amazon, all of that. This is what's going to show brands your selling power and the results you're able to give them, and they can track it in real time. So these are numbers that don't lie, they're there. And I think it's really important to know those numbers when you go pitch someone like Angie for her clients.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that. That is exactly what we're looking for. Again, smaller creator, know your numbers. You should have a larger engagement rate because you are so connected to that close audience that you do have. If you're not connecting, then let's figure out why. What time of day is your audience? Let's figure out why. Are you communicating enough? Are you just posting once a month and they're not really seeing it? It's not popping up on the feed. Has the formula changed on when you pop up on people's feeds? That's another one that we are also navigating, time of day and how you pop up on people's feeds. So show us those numbers. That gets you in the door to start and then build from there.
I think that's also a perfect segue to the next question that I have, right? We talked about building relationship, leveraging your data, knowing your worth. But what are some practical tips for negotiating with brands, right? If maybe the budget is not tight, or maybe they're not meeting, the value that you've put on your content. Ori, I would love to start with you if you have any practical tips for them on like negotiating with brands.
Yeah, I think it's important to approach the brand very collaborative. This is a team. Like when you pitch someone like Angie and her team, They are on your team and you're on their team. This is a collaborative effort. We all want a successful campaign with the brand. So how do we get there? So I think your approach should be very collaborative. Hey, this scope of work has a higher rate for me, but how can we work together? Is there some flexibility in the budget? Is there flexibility in the scope of work? You know, understand things like usage, like exclusivity, all of those things there may be some wiggle room there that can help with the budget. Let's say a brand wants to use your content for 6 months and their budget is just a little lower than what your rate would be for that collaboration, then maybe you can negotiate, hey, I'm willing to do this for 3 months on the paid usage and the deliverables stay the same. So looking for a collaborative way to really work with the brands to get to a place where it's fair, you're getting fairly compensated, and you're also establishing that relationship with the brands, because I think it's very important when you're starting off to show the brands that you want to work with them and that you're really excited about this opportunity, but that you also want to be compensated for your time and your talents. I tell brands all the time, this isn't just about creating a video. This is about the time, energy, and talent that these creators are building from a business perspective, right? That they have to pour into this content. So their rates encompass a lot more than just whatever the video costs or whatever the video, you know, is worth. I think that it's a bigger picture. Also, I think that one of the most common things that I hear now is, and for a long time, is creators, when they're starting off, they're afraid to say no. Please know there is power in walking away when you are being undervalued. And I say this because I can understand if this is your only source of income and a brand partnerships comes in, it's really hard to say no. But when you stand up and say no, you are saying no not only for yourself, but you're saying no for every other Latina creator out there that is being undervalued. And there is education in that for brands and for agency partners, where if one of us says no, this just doesn't cut it for me, and my time and my talent is worth much more, then this sets the precedent for everyone else.
Couldn't agree more. We are the standard, not the exception. Make that clear. Like, you are worth just as much as the next creator. And so when you know your worth and bring the data to us, and you're so lucky to get to the point of where your scoping works out with an agency or a brand directly, this is your time to say, this is what I provide, this is what I bring to the table, data, data, data. That said, all this time that it takes me is probably not the fee that I think is worth my time. That just shows us, hey, she's not playing games. She knows what she's worth and she knows what she brings to the table. She showed me that. She's now laid that out for me. I got to go back and find those dollars internally.
And you'd be surprised, they do come back.
They will. They will find it.
I've had a lot of instances where I've walked away and, you know, maybe 2 to 3 days later, the brand is back and they're like, hey, we found some extra budget and we really want to do this. And I think that once your foot is in the door, it's about building that long-term relationship.
Yes.
So you are going to work to make sure that this video is the best video they've had, that it differentiates itself, that it performs well, so that then you can have more of a long-term partnership, so that now you have data behind you that says, I am a valuable creator. I am worth the money that you're investing in me. I'm investing in you as well. I'm giving you my quality content. I'm giving you access to my audience. I'm pouring into you, pour into me. And this resonates. I can't tell you, my My business has been built on repeat business and long-term relationships. If I could say that there's one key to the success of my creators, it has been long-term relationships, long-term partnerships, repeat business, being able to grow, develop those relationships and nurture them over time.
Don't be that one and done. I can tell you now, brands aren't looking for one and done anymore. Like, yes, volume is great, but for us, again, it's like how does it resonate? So I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more, Ori. Repeat, repeat. Okay, you did the one paid campaign, but your audience also realizes that you got paid one time for this campaign. You never posted about this brand again.
Yeah.
Kind of obvious. And so please, please repeat, show, hey, remember that curl brand I told you about a month ago? Look at the results now. Even if it wasn't paid, the brand is going to notice that and be like, you know what? I got to keep putting her in my paid campaigns.
Also, one more thing to add, do not sleep on smaller brands that are growing.
Amen.
I think that as creators, sometimes we go for the bigger brands and we think, well, they're, a bigger brand, more corporate, they have retail presence, they may have more budget. That's not always necessarily true. But I also feel like supporting smaller brands when they are growing and when you see that there is momentum with their products and their growth, I think that being one of those creators that starts with them
OG, yes.
powerful. It's very powerful because now you grow with the brands and you never know where it may take you.
Mm-hmm.
That segment right there is gems upon gems, but I think one that I think is important because I think it not only resonates with the individuals that are here in this conversation today, but important to what Latina Equal Pay Day is, really is getting comfortable with negotiating, right? And I think that applies across all aspects of our lives. And I know culturally, it's something that what I've seen myself included, it's something that we don't lead with. It's something that I know personally is an exercise that I had to do to get comfortable being uncomfortable and advocating for myself, and one that I'm passionately about mentoring the next generation so they know that it is within our right to advocate for ourselves, to advocate for our worth, and to stand in that power to be able to close that pay gap. So
Absolutely.
thank you for touching on that, Ori, to be okay with stepping away if it's not your true value for the
It's a
opportunity.
flex. It's a flex, and we like to see it.
Yes.
So, Ori, so going from content to profit, what can creators do to transition from purely creating content to running a sustainable business?
I think it starts with treating your brand as a business. You have to transition into an entrepreneurial mindset. This is a business. You have to get organized about how you want to move forward with this. I understand that for a lot of starting creators, this may be a part-time hobby, something they do on their time off. But if you're really thinking about making a career out of content creation, monetizing your platform, you need to look at this as a business. That means you're going to have to invest your time, your energy, your resources. You're going to have to understand your finances, your taxes. You're going to have to understand, how to price yourself. You're going to have to understand legal practices for collaborations, the use of your likeness, your image, all of these things that I guess when you come into this space, you don't really know. And I understand that it's hard to kind of learn all of this at once, but it's tapping into resources. Maybe you have to get an accountant. Maybe you have to get a management team. Maybe you have to get an editor that can help you edit content when you can't edit or it's too much content to edit. It's getting organized. Do you need a productivity tool? Do you need, setting aside a filming schedule to make sure that you are consistently posting? You have to show up to work, and your work is in front of the camera. So you have to make sure you give yourself a schedule for that you are delivering content every day. If you are fully committed to this, you cannot go 3-4 days without showing up online. Your livelihood is now online, and you're making that commitment. And again, you have to ask those questions to yourself. Those are very hard questions. Like, am I committed to showing up online every day in this way and really putting all of this time and effort into my work and to see results in the end? I think also, like, learning how to diversify your income. The brand partnerships aren't going to roll in right away. I tell my clients when they sign on with me, having a manager does not equal you getting brand partnerships right away. We don't create miracles, right? We're here to grow and develop and monetize your platform, but that requires strategy, that requires pitching, that requires time. And you have to start doing all of that from the beginning, laying out the foundation. So the brand deals aren't going to come in right away, but how else can you make money, right? Affiliate programs. I mentioned LTK, I mentioned Amazon before. Those are all things that you can start looking as to how you can bring in income in those ways. And I think just building relationships. At first, again, you're not going to have all the brand deals, but if you do get PR packages, a lot of gifting is what, when you're starting off, there is a lot of gifting. It's what the norm is in the industry. You should be posting those PR packages. You should be creating organic content with them. They're not just free gifts. They're not, the brand is just not giving you a free gift because they think you're great, but they also want to see that you are posting about their product. If you get invited to an event, again, Angie and I, like, we are on board with this. You have to go to the event, you have to network, ask the brand. It's very simple. Ask the brand, what are you working on? What campaigns are you working on? Is there anything coming up for holiday? Do you have any more events coming up? Are you launching anything? Those are all valid questions. Brands and agencies are totally fine answering that. And if something is confidential and they can't share, maybe it's something where, yeah, we have things coming up. Let's connect. I'll send you my email, or I can send you an email and talk about what we have coming up. I think all of that really is how you turn this around from just being a hobby and actually creating a business and a career from it.
Love that. Angie, anything to add? I know.
No, I think she covered it from the negotiation perspective of things, but can't agree more. Don't get asked to be added to our PR list and then you don't post anything. We're just going to take you off. And that takes you down a notch when you come back to us asking again. If you reached out to us and you sent this heartwarming note and we add you to our PR list and you don't post anything, it's not a good look for you. We're going to take you off and be like, oh, that girl doesn't answer. Don't add her back, guys. And we're a small network. We're going to tell our teams too. We're like, don't worry, that girl does not answer. Don't waste the product.
I love that. So to be mindful of the time that we have and to be able to have our Q&A session and give everybody the room to, tap into the both of you. I'd love to end the conversation on the importance of mentorship. So how important is mentorship in building a supportive network and helping Latina creators overcome and scale their business?
Huge. Advocate for mentorship. And what I see across the board, the big factor from what I see from creators is they don't know how to price themselves because they don't know what other creators that are doing the same exact work are pricing themselves at. Mentorship and networking is your key to success in any business that you do, but especially that this business is growing. The creator profession is growing tenfold every single day, you need to know what the playing field is. You need to understand what other people are pricing things at, especially as you're starting out, because you will fail if you feel like, if we feel like you're outpricing yourself from the get. We're like, hey, she's not even coming with the data. She's charging 10,000 for what? There's like nothing there. So knowing what the playing field is and knowing that standard helps you level up the way you present yourself. And the only way to do that is, I can't thank Emily enough too, is just having communities like Latinas in Beauty on your side to give you those details. I can't tell you how many times I've seen in the Latinas in Beauty chat, hey, does someone have a vendor for this? Or does someone have a brand contact for that? And we all share. When we all win, my mother always says this, unidos sobrevivimos. So when you are together, you are going to amplify your worth together. You cannot expect to do it alone. And so for me, mentorship and that building that network, it can start with just as small as one person. I think Emily and I had one conversation on LinkedIn, met each other, and we're like, how can we do an event together? How can we do more? Ori and I met at that same Latinas in Beauty event, and we were like, how can I bring you to my agency? How can we do the art of conversation and really sharing information will take us so far. So please get out there and meet each other. Don't be afraid to email us. I think Emily will share our contact information following this, but network. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, Angie. This is such a powerful community, and it starts with community and being able to tap into all of the resources that you may have at hand. I know it's scary sometimes when you're starting off and you think, oh, I don't know anything about legal contracts or accounting or, filming, but you'd be surprised that there are so many resources out there and communities that are willing to help and that want to help emerging and growing creators. I, in my agency, offer a consulting and mentorship program to help creators grow and develop and monetize their platform that are starting off and don't know how to how to break into the industry. So I think it's important that you tap into the resources that are being presented to you.
It's hard for inequities to survive if we all have the same knowledge.
Right.
So we dismiss the inequity when we all are using the same data as a starting point.
Exactly. Yeah. And thank you for highlighting the importance of Latinas in Beauty. So Margarita, Nadine, and myself, the core of Latinas in Beauty really is centered on the opportunity to bring each other under that same roof, right? Really that family as opportunities for us to tap into the resources and open doors for one another, because we do see the importance of elevating each other through community. So I would love the opportunity to open the floor up to anyone that has questions. If you want to raise your hands, please feel free to come off mute. We also have the Q&A feature. These two powerhouses are equipped with so much knowledge and information that if there's a topic that we didn't address, I would love for you to come off camera or do a Q&A.
I have a question. Hi, Emily. Hi, Angie and Ori. Hi.
Hi.
Well, first of all, thanks for putting this together, Emily and Angie and Ori. You guys know we've met. I mean, Ori is a close colleague, friend of mine, so this is super helpful for people. But I do have a question, and for those, my positioning is interesting. I've worked on the agency side, I've worked on the brand side, so I understand the pains and the education that comes behind a brand that maybe doesn't have budget, or they do have it, but they don't want to invest it in Latinas or the recommendations that we're putting forward. And this is something that this has been challenging for me. So I would love to hear from both of you, Angie and Ori, what else can a brand do when they don't have said budget to support the community of creators or just the Latina community? Because this happens often with me, right? I have brands that I educate them, I tell them how important it is to invest. And I get told, like, sending product, and I appreciate that talent is posting about it, but I'm also like embarrassed. I'm like, oh my God, there's still no budget. So, I know about programs that brands will feature a creator and that helps. But other than that, is there anything else that we should know about that will be helpful, or that you are telling Angie clients or Ori that you're telling them what to do when they don't have the dollars, which is unfortunate and it's a problem, but.
I have a perfect example. We had a Latina brand based out of Miami just launching into the US this year. they have no budget, right? They're spending all their dollars on expanding in retail. So for us, it was earned, earned, earned. And we were going after mega names, we were going after small names and just seeding product. Once product started going viral for them, they came back to us and told us, we're seeing sales. So what you can give your brands or give the creators is links to track how many clicks were they getting, how many sales did they get off that link. Sometimes you'll be surprised if it's a brand that's enticing enough, the creator will create the content and then come back and share, hey, this got so much interaction. And we've had the brand then came back to us and told us they got a ton of sales that day. They sold out from one creator on TikTok who just happened to share her everyday story. So it is a journey. It is not a race. It's a marathon for sure when it comes to brands that don't have dollars. But again, reminding your brand that it does take time. If we can't control narrative, we can't control ROI if we're not paying creators at this time. It's just the way of the game. So it is a waiting game, Rocio. I feel you. Trust me. Plenty of our brands don't have budget to pay. But when they do see that ROI and they're like, this creator can we do a deal with her? We see that she's getting us something. That's where it starts. And so to Ori's point earlier is creators be more open to starting somewhere.
Yeah, I think to add to that, I think it's important that you create a relationship with the creator that you want to work with.
Yes.
Just as much as you're expecting the creator to creator relationship with the brand. I think creators want to feel supported. And if they are passionate and they do feel supported by the brand, then they will create the content. I've seen it happen. They say, I love this brand. I really love what they're doing. I feel seen, heard, and supported by the brand. So it's okay. I will work with them. I will give them a video. And also, are we in this for a long term? I mentioned, brands that are just starting off and being able to grow with the brand. So it's almost like, okay, well, I've featured your brand organically in my content. Can we work our way up to a brand deal? Or can we do a affiliate program where maybe the brand deal doesn't meet my rate, but I can compensate it with the affiliate percentage to be able to really satisfy what that rate is, compensate the creator accordingly, and also start building that relationship where the trust between the brand and the creator is slowly and progressively creating as you grow and as those budgets grow as well.
And
Yeah, and I'll
Ori,
just add
be transparent with the agents too. If you're looking for top tier talent, I know I've gone to Ori and I've said, hey, listen, they're just launched. They're trying to build their footprint. Eventually they will invest. I'm in a moment right now of trying to prove the investment is worth it. Definitely be open with those agencies because they're open to that too, because they know it takes a moment. Not every small brand is going to have budget to begin with.
Yeah, and I'll just add, as for content creators that perhaps are looking for the deals and are getting kind of like that pushback that there is no budget, I think from a Latinas in beauty perspective, what we're doing is advocating and informing our purchasing power within the beauty industry. So if you look through our latest Instagrams and our website is the value that Latinas are driving market growth in this industry. So we spent $12 billion in 2024 alone. We over-index across all categories of beauty. We are purchasing 37% more than our counterparts. So the power is within every single one of you that are driving loyal consumers to continue to drive this industry forward. We need to stand in that worth, in that power, because that is the influence that you're creating within this industry. So let's leverage that data as additional support of why they need to tap into you specifically. We'll go to Stephanie.
Hi, ladies. Can you hear me?
Hi, Stephanie.
Hi, sending so much love. Such a great conversation. So thank you for all your wisdom and dedication to this industry. I'm so grateful for this, Emily and everyone. So my question is about, you said come up to you at events and all that. You guys are so intimidating. Not you two. I'm just saying the PR bosses. It's something where I don't know. It's just you guys have your shit together in our heads and we're just trying to get in the door. So, I see my brand as a business and I love marketing. So I feel just want to share that. But when is it too much for someone to touch base with you? Because I hear you when you're like, brands don't want to just do one-offs, but sometimes from the influencer content creator stand, you know, I don't have millions of followers, right? But I go all in when I have a brand partnership. Like I go insane. Like I'm just like, let's do this. But sometimes when we don't get a response back as we follow up, I know it's probably in my head, but I'm like, oh, they hated it. Like I'm nothing compared to like like, you know, these big time influencers. And so I do get a little bit nervous about touching base all the time. So do we like tell, I mean, I guess tell me, like, is it ever too much for someone to contact you? Because, you know, I fear to be annoying. And I'm like, how long can I talk about around the world beauty? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I just wanted to throw that out there because I know that as influencers and content creators, we get in our heads about, you know, our business sometimes. So just wanted to throw that question out.
First off, you're a queen. Stop
Yeah,
getting in your head
I
about
was
that.
gonna say we're all winging it. We're all winging it. None of us have our shit together. Just in case. And I would say that you are a great example of this because your story and your community, Stephanie, if you guys don't follow Stephanie, I encourage you to do so. What she's built over time, her community, her story is very unique. And I believe that that's what brands are looking for. And from a talent management perspective, I always push for my creators to tell their unique story, show up authentically, and show their power of the community they've built over time. And I know Angie can speak on, from a brand perspective, you know, what is too much, but I don't think that when you're showing up authentically as you, telling your story,
especially in person, like if a PR person is shunning you at an event, shame on them. Our job is to network with you and understand, you know, how we can support one another. I hope you haven't felt that way at any of our events, but to be transparent, it's our job to tell you what we're working on and how we can support one another. And your platform is incredible, Stephanie, Around the World Beauty. Please follow her. But she shows that she's makeup artist to running her own book and business. So tell that story and continue to tell that story. Don't be afraid to shout it from the rooftops. Even if we've heard it already, we want to hear it again because sometimes it's just not the right time. And maybe they didn't have time to answer that email you sent 7 months ago, right? Sometimes like, hey, maybe I realized it wasn't the right time, but this is what I have going on now. This is the most recent post I did, including you guys. Here are the metrics of that post in case you missed it. That shows like, oh wait, she's been supporting our brand. Let's go back here. Why didn't we pay attention the first time?
Love that. We also have Melly. Good question.
Hi everybody. Thank you so much for setting this up, Emily, and to Angie and Ori, for again sharing all of your knowledge, which is so incredibly valuable. So my question was more from like the creator side, and I wanted to know, and I'm sorry if you hear my toddlers in the background screaming.
Mine too, don't worry.
We're all moms here.
Do you recommend a framework or cadence for creatives who are just starting out? One that balances consistency, but also like without burning out right away when you're first starting out. And I think this question is both obviously for Ori, but also Angie as a brand. How often do you want to see creators showing up on their platforms?
Yeah, I recommend that creators are posting at least 3 times a week. Of course, when you're starting off, you have to get into that schedule. But remember, you are teaching your audience a pattern. Like, think of it that way, where they need to see that you are showing up at the same time every week, you know, giving them what you have to offer. And then that's how you also learn what they react to, when they react to it, and how you can frame up your own content to really engage. Also, I think showing up on stories is a quick, easy way of really being more on the day-to-day and being able to build more of that personal relationship. And it's quick and easy rather than filming an entire video, because I know that can at first be very time consuming. And if you don't have the allocated time to continuously create content that way. Stories is an easy way where you can show up. And even build series, like even on your Angie stories, or maybe it's on your TikTok or Instagram, where they know that every Tuesday at 5 p.m. you post about your latest grocery haul or your latest trip to Sephora and what you got, or whatever the series is about. But building that pattern, remember, the algorithm is a pattern and you're just trying to create your own pattern within it.
Can agree
That's
more.
so
And
insightful.
yeah, and on the brand side, we're not necessarily looking for how many times you post a week. Again, we're looking at the engagement those posts are making. So if you're posting at the right time, to Ori's point, if it's every Tuesday, you know, this is my sweet spot. Every Tuesday I'm posting and this is getting the most engagement. Then when you engage with us, post at the same time so that you know you get the most engagement on that post with us. And it makes us want to continue the relationship with you. Like, wow, she really knows her audience. She knows when to post. Let's keep working with her.
Awesome. Thank you so much, both. This was really
Sure.
insightful and helpful. I'm still trying to figure out, I want to jump in full swing, but to be very real and honest, juggling the motherhood balance and career, it's tough. But, I think what I've learned from social media is that there's communities to be cultivated, there's livings to be made, and there's a positive impact that we can share by, sharing our life stories and just coming together as a community. And I think that this is a perfect example, Emily, of what you've created with Latinas in Beauty. So I just really, really appreciate all of your time.
Thank you,
Molly.
Yeah, we have one more question. Maria Delise?
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to say thank you guys so much for doing this. This has been so informative and so amazing. So my question is about brand events. So I know how it's really important to network and build relationships with people when they invite you to events, and I'm always so grateful. And I try to attend as much as I can just to network. But I wanted to ask, sometimes when I go to events, I'm always trying to look for the person who invited me, who's on the team, how can I connect with them, how can I talk to them? But sometimes I get a little nervous and I'm like looking for like certain questions to ask them or maybe their contact or their email, but I also don't want to be too forward. Like I don't want to go up to this person and be like, "Hi, um, do you have a contact? This is what I do." Like, you're just like you want to like ease into the conversation a little bit. Sometimes I find that my conversations stay too much on the personal side, then I'm like, oh my gosh, do they even know my name? Did I even get their contact? But I also don't want to be too forward. I don't want to be like too in their face or
Listen,
too, because like I know that I'm going to these events to build relationships because I am a business. I don't go to these events. I mean, yes, they're cute, they're fun, whatever, but I'm not here just to have fun. Like I can have fun on my own time. I'm really here to network and build. So I'm like, what questions should I ask? What is your ideal conversation for a creator who's trying to network at an event that you invited them to? What do I ask? What do I say so that I'm saying the right things, if that makes sense?
one, we're just as nervous as you are. We're here to network on behalf of our brands. Do not be afraid to ask any question. Us as publicists are here to make relationships with all of you in the room so that we can come up with something down the line. Don't be afraid to be like, hey, Angie invited me. I don't see her here. Can you point me in her direction? 9 times out of 10, the person at check-in is going to be like, yeah, let me get someone to call Angie so you can say hi. We want to see you. We're happy that you showed up to our event. Don't feel like you're a bother if you're looking for us when you get there, because we're so excited that you came. We get 30% drop-off rates at our event, so we're not even sure if you're actually going to show up at our event to begin with. So we are ecstatic to meet you and chat with you. And of course, you might get personal because that's just the way of networking, and especially as a Latina, we're oversharers. But please come to our events. Don't be afraid to ask questions. And if your question is purely about your business, hey, we're down to get to business as well. So feel free to be like, hey, what campaigns do you have working on? This is what I've got going on. Can we set up a side call? Take my business card, or let's scan each other. What I've been doing lately at the Latinas in Beauty one last week, we scan each other's phones, and I've been getting emails from that. So again, don't be afraid to network and have conversations and set up side calls, posts, follow through following that event. I think that's the biggest thing too, is like a lot of times where we have great conversations on site and we don't hear from you after. So don't be afraid to be like, hey, remember that great conversation? I want to set up some time to chat. That's what we're here for.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. That's so helpful.
Yeah.
And just wanted to add to that really quick, I think it's important to also do your homework. Look this person up on LinkedIn, look at this, follow them on Instagram, know who they are, know what they look like, scout them out, know something personal about them. It's okay, you know.
Yeah, I'm flattered.
Maybe they just celebrated a birthday and you
I'm
saw it on
flattered.
Instagram. Like, it's okay to say, hey, you know, happy birthday. I just saw that you celebrated a birthday. That is just like an old school way of building rapport, but they'll remember you. And
Yeah,
that it's
he was on point. Yeah.
have that personal touch.
Yeah, Angie, I think you
Thank you
touched
so
a
much.
point that is so well, I think, underutilized within networking is like you making that introduction, but following up, right? Attending these
Yes.
events is just, even if you just got the opportunity to say a hello, it opens the door for you to send an email to say, hi, it was nice meeting you at such and such event. I would love the opportunity to connect. Do you have 30 minutes? Right? It really just opens that door again for that genuine, authentic relationship building, which I know that we're all advocating for, because that's, you know, the power of relationships. So we are at time. So I thank everyone for being here today as we come together to close the Latina pay gap. Please utilize Latinas in Beauty as a resource for you and your career journey within the beauty industry. Please reach out to Nadine, Margarita, and myself if you need anything. Again, thank you to Angie and Ori for leveraging their insights and their knowledge and pouring into us on this very important day. So thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.